Welcome to a deep dive into the intriguing world of economics and politics. Today we're exploring a fascinating phenomenon, the perception gap between economic indicators and public sentiment. Imagine this. The economy is growing, wages are on the rise, and unemployment is at a low. Yet, a recent poll reveals an interesting paradox. Only 2% of registered voters believe economic conditions are excellent, and a mere 16% deem them good. Why the disparity, you ask? The reasons are multifaceted and complex, ranging from media narratives painting a bleak economic picture, to misinformation spreading like wildfire on social media, to our own inherent human bias for negative information. Despite the positive economic indicators, the public's perception remains stubbornly negative. It's like being at a party with great music, delicious food, and lively conversations, yet most guests insist they're having a lousy time. The Biden administration's messaging about the economy will be crucial for his 2024 campaign. So, how is the Biden administration responding to this perception gap? Let's investigate. The administration is taking a proactive approach to bridge this chasm between public sentiment and the reality of economic data. Central to this strategy is the president himself, Joe Biden. He's been appearing on television, discussing the benefits of the bipartisan infrastructure bill. The president isn't just reciting dry facts and figures, rather, he's painting a picture of a future with improved transportation, better water quality, and widespread internet access. But it doesn't stop at just the president. The Biden administration understands that the task of changing perceptions is a team effort. So, cabinet secretaries are being dispatched across the country, not just to sell the plan, but to explain in clear, relatable terms how these policies are making a tangible difference in everyday American lives. Yet this isn't merely about highlighting achievements. The administration is also drawing a line in the sand, criticizing Republicans who did not support the infrastructure bill. The goal here is to contrast the administration's focus on benefiting ordinary citizens with the Republicans' alleged stance of favoring the wealthy and corporations. This multi-pronged approach is more than just damage control. It's a concerted effort to shift the national conversation, to move beyond the realm of abstract economic indicators and into the lives of the American people. It's about convincing Americans that the administration's policies are making a positive impact, that they are more than just numbers on a spreadsheet. As Biden's team navigates these tricky waters, their strategy could have far-reaching implications for the 2024 campaign. Now let's look at how this perception gap and the administration's response could impact future elections. There's an interesting phenomenon developing called decoupling. This is where voters' attitudes towards President Biden are not directly affecting their support for other Democratic candidates. Historically, there's been a significant correlation between how people feel about the president and how they vote for candidates from his party. This pattern has held true from the top of the ticket all the way down to local races. However, this election cycle might just be different. Democrats are staring down a challenging path, particularly in House races, where candidates are lesser known and more often associated directly with the party's standing. The challenge here is not just to win the race, but to break free from the shadow of presidential approval ratings. But there's a glimmer of hope. Recent polls suggest that Democrats might be holding their ground, running even or slightly ahead of Republicans in generic congressional ballot tests. This suggests that despite the president's sinking approval ratings, Democratic candidates are still managing to resonate with voters. Some Democrats are even managing to create their own strong identities, separate from any attitudes about Biden. These candidates are demonstrating that it's possible to break away from the traditional correlation and carve out their own path to victory. But can this decoupling trend hold up? Can Democrats overcome the challenge of Biden's sinking approval ratings in the midterm elections? This is the million-dollar question. It's a delicate balancing act, and the stakes are high. In the end, the answer lies in the hands of the voters. Will they continue to separate their feelings about the president from their support for other Democratic candidates? Or will the historical correlation reassert itself? Only time will tell if Democrats can overcome the challenge of Biden's sinking approval ratings in the midterm elections. It's clear that the perception gap between economic indicators and public sentiment is a complex issue, with implications for the Biden administration and future elections. We've traversed the terrain of this nuanced topic, from understanding the disparity between public sentiment and economic reality to the Biden administration's efforts to bridge this gap. We looked at how media narratives, misinformation, and human bias for negative information contribute to this perception gap. It's not just about the numbers, but the stories we tell ourselves and each other about the economy. We also touched on the potential implications of this perception gap for future elections. The decoupling of voters' attitudes towards the president and their support for Democratic candidates could influence the outcome of midterm elections and beyond. As we wrap up, it's important to remember that the perception gap isn't just a statistic or a political talking point. It's about the lived experiences of everyday people, their hopes, fears, and aspirations. Thank you for joining this exploration of economics and politics. Don't forget to subscribe for more insightful content. Engage with us in the comments and share your thoughts on this perception gap. Stay tuned for more deep dives into the fascinating intersection of economics and politics.